if you're a Jayson Tatum guy, which everybody is, you're a Jayson Tatum guy, meaning you believe he's going to be a top 5, 6, 7 NBA player, which is where Kevin Durant currently is. And again, we talk about this enormous gulf between these two guys when they're head to head. Okay. Tatum doesn't do any of the things that Durant does or that you want him to do in a game. Like, he didn't do any of the things that Durant did. Not that he doesn't. We've seen him do it, and we've seen him take it.
I still think I'm with Jimmy that's unfair to hold him to that standard. But
that is the standard.
People put him there.
The thing is, you can sit there and be a Tatum guy and say he's the best player, and he's already top 10 or he's knocking on the door, but you can't also say it's not fair to compare him to Durant. He's either getting there or he's not.
There's a big gap between 11 and 1.
Close to there or he's not.
Well, what it shows is that gap between 11 and 1. Durant could feasibly be the best player in the league this year.
Yeah.
And Tatum's 11, which is what Jokic, Joel Embiid, these guys who are great, phenomenal franchise leaders, players anyone would want to start their franchise with, but haven't pushed them to the NBA Finals yet, haven't gotten past that hump. And that's what we see with Tatum. Like, Durant has honed himself over years and years and years to be able to shoot over anybody in that pull-up 2.
I know, but we got to get back to Tatum here. He has to be able to get buckets at will. He has to be able to get his shot off. He has to recognize double teams. He has to recognize when he can be aggressive. He has to get to the hole. He can't sometimes do it, sometimes not. He has to just be a scorer all the time. Jimmy, who are you texting here, buddy?
For this team,
I actually literally just tweeted out our link since nobody else did it that I could find on our YouTube link. So I wanted to make sure the good people who aren't watching right now could see it.
Gotcha.
So I had to do that.
Yeah.
And I actually think it was
I hear what you're saying. You're talking more about his approach, but I just think the whole Durant's one of the greatest scorers of all time. Like, this isn't, I get what you're saying though, and my only concern is if Brad Stevens is just not being aggressive enough or setting him up in a way to get going right away. Because I'm with you. I thought that was a pattern that was exclusive for the bubble. I didn't know that was going to carry over into this year. I don't know what's with the slow starts and not getting to the free throw lines, but it has to change, and especially in that first quarter. I mean, that's what stars do, right, guys? Whether we're talking top 10, wherever you guys have them at, you get to the free throw line. You don't let someone come off the bench and get 7 free throws before you can even get there. Someone like Shemi Ojale, it's just, I don't get it. And again, I don't know if that's something that falls on Brad Stevens, or is it something that Tatum just sort of, wakes up by the second quarter and then gets going. But there's those slow starts. There's something to it. This is a pattern now.
Yeah. And again, what's going to happen is there's a child.
Come on in. Come on in.
That was a nice touch. John's got a
tree.
wall over there preventing entry.
Listen, that's what we said about
it's
Tatum.
actually gated. Yeah.
He's got to get into a groove. And a lot of players do that at the free throw line. So if you go 3 quarters without getting to the free throw line, you saw him tonight, 20 points. It says right there. I mean, you need more. This team isn't deep enough. I'm a broken record, but you need at least 25, closer to 30 from Tatum on a lot of nights. And that's the difference, is going to the free throw line to make up for those extra 5-10 points, right?
And they were coming out. They were blitzing him a little bit, and
those blitzes were nice.
Yeah, and so it wasn't easy on him, for him to get going. But again,
last thing I'll say on that is that you do start to see the story of this team being guys who were in different roles last year, forced to step up to the next level and trying to get into the comfort of that. Like Smart, even if we're talking about new roles. There's a little bit of awkwardness in his new role, I feel like, too. He's trying to take that step back, but you're not getting that explosiveness that you would get from him in a game like this. For all we bemoan his shot selection and aggressiveness, there were nights where his aggressiveness rode you above the level you were on, and the Toronto series last year was the story of that. I feel like he's been a little too subtle so far. Like, when he shot tonight, it looked good. He just, again, comes out with 4-12, just kind of like a mediocre night.
Yeah. So what are we saying now? We want Marcus to shoot more?
I just think be careful what you ask for in that sense. Like he and Brad has said this before too. His aggressiveness, his assertiveness rises you above the level you're on some nights, and it's allowed him to be your best or second best player other nights. So it's just a minor point, but overall it feels like everybody's still getting adjusted to those new levels. And Joe Sway, you make a good point. Jaylen looks most comfortable of anybody stepping into that new role, so that's a positive you can pull out of this.
9 attempts from Jaylen. I'm gonna keep going with this free throw thing. 9 attempts. I mean, that's a guy who just wouldn't be denied to the. It's just that sort of aggressive approach, getting to the rim, keep going, doing it again and
20
again and again.
right now. I love that.
And look,
And he's feeling the defense. It is a
Right.
case of Jaylen, which is so interesting because, again, the early struggles in his career were always kind of like he decided what he was going to do before he started going, and he would just go. But I mean, that case, particularly against Durant, that time where he went, got him up in the air, it slowed it down, and then banked it home. He's feeling the defense out on when he's going to the basket. It's not that out of control, wild, I'm going to jump in the air and see what happens.
Drive you crazy. Yeah, right. Exactly. And you know what else?
He doesn't do that at all. But Tatum actually looks more lost going to the basket than you see him falling down, not really sure where he's, a couple of times. So it's funny that Jaylen is the guy right now who's really like taking it with confidence there.
Right. And Jaylen's also impressed me with his facilitating, setting guys up. I think that's something that could.
Him and Marcus have a nice little thing going.
Maybe that's what Tatum needs, a little high-low action, get him in there, that those two need to play off each other more often, I think. And I think that's something Brad's going to start seeing is the next move within the next week or so.
2 games in a row.
This the end is going to be a good test.
Jaylen, 2 games in a row, high scorer, and clearly the best player on the floor for the Celtics. Yeah, and it's clearly. Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying this is happening, but what I don't want to see happen is I don't want Tatum to fall in love with like just the outside shot. I don't want him to become a shot chucker. I want him to stay aggressive, be aggressive, drive. He needs to get himself going. Jaylen Brown, I don't feel that's part of his game. Even though like he'll park himself on the corner and take threes, that's fine. You need to do that, but like he's not scared to get aggressive, drive to the hoop. Whereas I think Tatum's more inclined to, penetrate, step back, fall away 3, where he's almost like, and we saw it, he hit a couple of those obviously against the Bucks. He had a great one tonight, a deep 3. I think it was over Kyrie. That was a really nice one at the shot clock. But still, you want to see him get going, get full steam ahead. I mean, the guy puts on 10 pounds of muscle and grows 2 inches. Like, use that, man. Like, use what you got, man.
Yeah, the difference between the two right now, and Tatum does get more pressure. John mentioned the doubles. He's getting the better defender of the two, so all that matters. Yeah. But what Tatum needs to be able to do, 2 assists tonight, use that pick and roll, use his facilitating role,
recognize
the guys up, and not just if you're doubled, if you're getting stuck, dish it out, but identify and find teammates and empower teammates, make teammates better with the pressure that you're getting. That's a high level role. That's what Durant does. That's what LeBron does. But as John mentioned, if you're holding them up to that standard, that's that next step.
That's all I'm saying. It is ridiculous to compare him to 2 of the best players who've ever played ever and will ever play. That's not the point. The point is this team only becomes a championship level team if he reaches that level. And if he doesn't, then you have a really, 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 really good player, but not enough to get you to that next level. That's the fact. He either, like I said, we talked about those ESPN rankings, which are totally imperfect. But the point being, if these guys are roughly the 11th and the 25th or 30th best players in the NBA this season, if they make that leap and they become 6 and 12, all of a sudden you do have one of the best tandems in basketball right now.
And let's make it clear, we're not saying
otherwise they're kind of in an also-ran sort of category, which is very, very, very good. You want to have them. They're young. They could continue to grow. There's not very many 2-person tandems you would trade these guys for, but they have to get to that level for you guys, for the Celtics to be
and let's make it clear, we're not saying that he can't get there.
They both can.
It's just identifying what they need to do.
Right. Yeah.
Right, and I think that goes back to what we were saying. Like, are you trying to win now, or are you trying to win? Are you trying to develop guys and win? And build something to really be that team, because they're good. It's a frustrating situation. It's a frustrating position to throw in because they're just good enough to hook you in and to make you feel like, okay, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, but they might come up short. And you know what I mean? It's like, is that a knock on them, or are they just a couple years away?
It's
we're comparing them to. No, it's fine. We're comparing them to Kyrie and Durant, but like Kyrie and Durant's 32. Kyrie's however old he is. Like, these guys have so much time to get to that point and be in the position that those two guys are in now, where it's like, we obviously want it to happen right now, but we also have to understand that like there's a lot of room to grow and for them to get better and become that level of player. So I don't know.
It's a tough spot in their development too, to basically take the two superstars away in Hayward and then have Kemba not start and put that much more pressure on them here. Again, they could be exactly at the level they're at this year with more support and a deeper bench, and then it's fine. It's just now they have nobody. They do not have enough around them to be able to lean on anybody else. It's on them every single night to be 30 and 30, 25 and 25 every night. I mean, and again, they got theirs. I mean, 47 combined points tonight. Tatum wasn't super efficient. He didn't get to the line, but every single night those guys have to be alphas.
Yeah, and it may or may not catch up to them at some point in the season if you don't have Kemba coming back and giving you something, if you don't have Smart contributing, if Teague can't give you some instant offense here and there, and if any of these young guys don't sort of step up into some sort of complementary role. Not asking them to give you 20 points a night, but I mean a guy like Tyce Thompson, for example, those guys you should be able to rely on double-digit points, and then somebody has to step up, whether it's Romeo when he comes back, whether it seems like Pritchard has, a lot of Brad Stevens' confidence. Somebody has to sort of fill the gaps there. And if they don't, then you get a score like you do tonight. Yeah.
So we did say we're gonna keep it short. It's Christmas. Everybody, we've got
the Grinch stole Christmas tonight. The Grinch stole Christmas.